he has to get it together, and we'll see how he stands out. We're talking about Chet Holmgren with playing next to Giddy, the kid from Australia. Just to double back on the Kyrie LeBron conversation. Ultimately, is that the best fit for Kyrie, or is that the best option, or the only option? Kyrie being traded to the Lakers from Brooklyn.
Oh, it certainly is the best option for him because he gets a chance to atone for his past mistakes. He gets a chance to kind of, be under the tutelage of, his mentor from the past. He gets a chance to, kind of express himself and be himself within the context and confines of greatness, whether it be the
Oh my goodness!
organization as a whole, with having the most championships in the history of the National Basketball Association,
Like I said, do they
or
have the most?
or in
Do they have
addition to being a part of, the LeBron James family, the king. The king has brought you in. He's absolved you of any wrongdoing in the past,
the-
and he's just said, "I forgive you, my child. I forgive you, my child. You can come back into the fold." And that in and of itself will probably give Kyrie such a burst of confidence. I mean, who knows what he might be able to do.
Did he ask for that forgiveness though? Did he ask for that kind of forgiveness? Did he need that type of forgiveness?
Well, he
Or
certainly is
something
when
like
he
he?
says he wants to come to the Los Angeles Lakers. He wants to come back to the person that he spurned as a young child. When he said that, I don't want my legacy to be defined by what I did with LeBron James. I want to go and do this on my own. So then he went to Boston, was not able to do that. And then he teamed up with one of the 15 greatest players in the history of the National Basketball Association, wasn't able to do it there. And so he's
So
had an epiphany. Like, you know what? The person that has made me the best, made me really who I am, and what I've been able to accomplish in this league is the Kang, Big Brother
so I
LBJ.
understand. I understand. I mean, like a swimmer or golfer, a tennis player. You used to individual sports. You're not familiar with being part of a team. So the team concept is kind of challenging for you to grasp. I get that. I understand, and I forgive you on that. And I'm not going to hold you accountable to that. But why would you consider yourself a Laker fan? You have been telling me you're a front running Laker fan for years now. Um, why would you guys accept this guy on your team who you know is not a team player? He has shown in his past several steps that he's not a team player. He's strictly out for himself. Why would you accept a guy like that on your team?
Well, Cam, he's shown that in those other cities and other teams that he's been associated with. But because of the fact that he is coming to the Los Angeles Lakers, the most storied franchise. Cam, let me break this down for you. In baseball, he would be going to the New York Yankees. In football,
Okay, he played for the Boston
in football,
Celtics.
where would he be going, Cam?
He played for the Boston
Cam,
Celtics.
Cam, Cam,
He
Cam.
went
In
to he went to
football,
the
in
Boston
football, where would
Celtics.
he be going?
I mean the Miami Dolphins. But I don't know where you're getting at.
He would be going to the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, here we go.
In the
Oh, here we
National
go.
Basketball
So here's a
Association,
bunch of
he's
front runners.
going to the Los Angeles Lakers with his big brother
Hey,
and
come here.
mentor to carry him across the finish line once again.
I want to show your shirt. I want to show your shirt right here. I want to just. I mean, I'm sitting here doing a sports podcast, and then we got the guy who just sits up and just look at what shirt he has on. Fans, I just wanted to see what shirt he has on, and that's it right there. I just wanted to show your shirt. Thank you, big guy. That's it right there. I'm gonna
Come
put
on, I'm a regular Dolphins fan. Let's
thank,
go.
thank. Let's do
Let's
it. Let's
go.
go. Are you a Tua fan though?
Of
Thank
course
you.
I am. I
Ooh,
was I was in Schofield Barracks in Hawaii. Are you kidding me?
there we go.
The
There
whole
you go.
family's from
There,
Hawaii.
see.
Aloha.
Hello, how you going? How's it going? But we have Dolphin fans all over the
Yeah,
house.
we'll
So I
get
just
back to
wanted to
that
point
later,
that
Cam.
out.
That gratuitous, whatever that was. But what I was trying to say is that when you get a chance and an opportunity to play with
Please,
one of the top
please.
5 greatest basketball players in the history of the National Basketball Association, and the top franchise.
He played with the top 15. He was just
It's an
leaving
offer you
playing
can't
with the top 15.
refuse. What's that movie, Cam, where they say, "I'll make you an offer you can't refuse"?
The Godfather.
Oh, there you go. Well, the Godfather's
So
calling.
Cleveland.
And he said,
So
I
he
forgive
played
you.
with the Boston. He played with the Boston Celtics. The one
Nobody
team
was
who
there with
has
Boston when he was
most,
playing with them.
the most championships in the league in
No, it's not the
league
most
history.
championships. The Lakers have the most championships in the league.
I mean, okay, whatever. And then he also played with a guy who you said yourself is top 15 in the league in history. So going to a different team.
And he was lost and confused in both of those places, but now he's found. Now he's found.
Now he's found. Now the sense of bro, your guy, your king has blessed him. All of a sudden, there's a different thing.
The king has forgiven him for past indiscretions. Yeah.
Let's see. That's interesting.
We'll bring him back to the flock and give him tutelage and guidance again to be that.
That's interesting. That's very interesting that you go that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see if your king now because he's on his last leg. All of a sudden, he wants to give this young guy some tutelage. Might it be that he needs this young guy to carry him somewhere?
Well, I mean, it's a win-win situation for everybody, Cam.
It's win-win. It's win-win.
Pairing with himself and Anthony Davis, and then Kyrie Irving, and I believe that, as we have spoken about on numerous shows, what's the number one and only comp anyone ever gives for Kyrie Irving? He is the second coming of who?
Oh no.
Say it out loud. Cam, say it out loud. You only hear one. You only hear one comp. What's the comp you hear?
I don't know. I have no idea what you're thinking.
You really can't say the
no
name?
idea. Yeah, I don't know what you know. Let the people know who you're talking about because this is completely made up.
Only comp anyone ever has for Kyrie Irving is he is the second coming of Isaiah.
Of who?
You've never heard a single other comp. It's always he is Isaiah Thomas 2.0.
Okay,
even with all the baggage, even with all the risk, even with all of the history, you'll still take a chance on the second coming of Isaiah Thomas.
Well, we'll see how things play out. Because
I know you're nervous.
I'm not nervous at all.
I haven't really seen, I forgot who your team was, Cam, but I haven't really seen a lot of moves from that other team. I forgot who your team was.
Oh, the Clippers who signed John Wall? And I mean, the Clippers, they're adding perennial All-Star Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
John Wall. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Yeah. We talk. Huh?
I said moving right along. I don't remember the last time John Wall played a meaningful basketball game.
Yeah. Okay, but they're waiting on Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Those are the guys.
You say he's on 5-on-5 though.
Yeah, exactly. So you
said he's good. You said he can run forwards and backwards right now.
When the season starts, they're going to be ready to play.
Yeah, can run forwards and backwards. I don't want to do this side to side. That's
this guy got jumped. When he comes back, he'll be ready to play.
From what you've heard,
he'll be ready.
You're close.
He'll be ready to play. Man. So let's talk about Joe Ingles signs with the Bucks. Will Joe Ingles be cutting into Middleton's minutes?
Just more firepower.
I mean, they could have used him in the playoffs last year, obviously against Boston. But will they be cutting into? Will he be cutting into those minutes? Do you think?
I don't think so.
Not really.
Not really.
How does PJ Tucker sign in with the Sixers? They needed his toughness, clearly. How does that impact them?
Not at all. I mean, he doesn't help enough.
Not at all?
No.
What?
I mean, what are their problems, Cam? They don't have any shooting, and their shooting guard is like, you know, wandering off in the wilderness, going to see what Peaches is up to in the middle of the game, man. Texting people, at the strip club, man. They don't have any focus, and their big guy, I love him to death. He's not quite established himself as a basketball god just yet, and he's kind of fragile. So,
I mean, he was MVP candidate last year.
sure was.
And that's not enough for you?
No, I mean not so. I mean, the pieces that are there at present is not enough for PJ Tucker to be like, oh yeah, he pushes us over the top. Like, he's not moving the needle, man. They have other problems.
Such as
shooting guard is kind of temperamental, and you're not sure what you're going to get from him when he's at his best. He's good for 35 points a game. When he's at his worst, he's on his cell phone at the end of the bench in the middle of the third quarter talking to Peaches. So that's their number one problem. Number two, they don't have a third scorer. Tobias Harris is okay given a certain type of environment, but not someone to depend on every night. As Jimmy Butler said, wow, can't believe you picked Tobias Harris over me. Imagine where you would be if you had me instead of him. So, yeah, PJ Tucker's not coming in and fixing anything. Gives them a little more toughness, a little more rebounding and intensity if they could ever get themselves in a position to need that. But he's not going to get you there.
I mean, he's going to bring up some defense. He's going to bring up some intensity. I think that alone in itself, maybe that'll spark. Maybe that's the spark that to kind of unlock a guy like Tobias Harris. And then if they can unlock Tobias Harris to get the 20 points out of him, he needs a game. Like that, whoever can do that would be impressive.
Yeah, I don't think PJ Tucker's the key master. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. So next week we got the Summer League, man. We're going to be able to do this show for Summer League next week. What are some of the who are you looking to see in Summer League, and what teams are you looking to see?
Number one, Paulo Banchero. Number two, Jaden Ivey. Those are my two people that I want to see the most.
So Orlando plays Oklahoma City actually Monday the 11th at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Obviously that's Pacific Standard Time. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one. Welcome to Summer League, huh?
Let's get down. Let's see who's who.
Houston and San Antonio. So you said Paulo. That's Orlando and Detroit, you said, right?
Jaden Ivey in Detroit.
Detroit. I don't see Detroit on the list. I don't see them on the list first. Them look like they're going to be in Vegas.
Well, if not, then the next player would be Jabari, just to see how he handles not being the number one pick.
Jabari, who drafted him?
Houston,
who drafted
number
him at
3.
Houston. They play Monday. They play at 4:00. They play San Antonio.
Okay, without DeJounte.
Yeah, who's in rebound and reconstruction mode. All right, so there's Monday right there. Houston at 4:00, and Houston at 4:00, and we got Orlando and OKC at 6:00. Is there a game with New York and Portland at 8:00? That's the last game of the night on Monday. On Tuesday, Chicago, Toronto, Memphis, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Miami, Boston, Golden State. There's Detroit, Indiana on Tuesday. The late game on Tuesday. Also, there's Phoenix and Dallas. Tuesday. So, and then on Tuesday night, it's also the Lakers and the Clippers on Tuesday night.
Who did the Clippers draft with
Yes.
their first round pick?
They drafted a center with the first round pick.
Oh, that's
With the
cool.
first round pick, with the
That's
first
cool.
round pick, they got Paul George. With the first round pick, they got Paul George. That's who they got.
Who got married? I heard. Congratulations to Paul George, man.
Yeah, yeah, he got.
To his
he tied it
longtime
up.
sweetheart. That's beautiful, man. Black love. That's beautiful, man.
So we got some good basketball. Look, got some good basketball. Get a chance to see some of these young rookies get down next week. Be able to do a couple live shows. See if we can sneak in a live show from Thomas and Mack or from one of the arenas. Do a live show, um, and then we'll have to see. Cleveland won't be able to just say these things so loosely in person like he does on over StreamYard because he knows it would be there.
And
to
neither
check
will
him.
you, Cam. And neither will you.
So fans,
We're
let's.
trying to act like I'm the interrogator. No. The
I mean, well, when
antagonist.
you talk about, yeah.
You guys say
when
the
you
same thing
talk
to
so
people's
glowing,
faces too.
when you talk so glowingly, like LA is the resurrection spot. Like you come here and then all of a sudden it putting on that uniform, it heals all ills. Like I mean,
Makes you feel different. Your
you guys didn't
abilities
even
they
you guys didn't even make the
increase.
playoffs last year. You guys didn't even make the playoffs last year.
Sure
So I
didn't.
don't understand. I don't understand how you can like confidently say over here, oh, everything is all hunky dory and all rosy, peaches and cream. That's not the case. You guys don't. Your management is in turmoil.
Well, I mean,
Your
Magic
owner.
Johnson comes to your games. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar comes in.
That doesn't. So what?
Shows you a few tips. You know what I'm saying?
That's because they
Your
played
Genie
for the
Bus is
team
always
years ago.
around.
Again, your
It's a
management
different environment,
is in turmoil.
different level of expectation. When you go into I'm sorry, you used to go in when the Clippers they block out all of those banners and whatnot, so nobody has to see them. But when it's the Lakers home games, they're all just apparent, visible, and you feel the magic and the energy of it, as opposed to feeling like second fiddle in the same building. And I hope Mr. Ballmer, you don't have this. Mr. Ballmer's not listening, right?
He listens all the time, so he know you're full of shit. So he's okay. He told
Mr.
me.
Ballmer, I'm sorry. I got kind of carried away there. I know that you're the 10th richest man in the history of the world, so please don't do anything, derogatory to me for, voicing my opinion here.
he know you're full of shit. Let's talk about. Let's take a little quick break here, man. We come back. We're gonna talk about some NFL topics, man. The Seahawks dragging their feet. Another case, a CTE. I know Cleveland is just all over with it. All over with. We're gonna talk about which quarterbacks have the most pressure on them going into this season. So, you need a little break, Cleveland?
Let me take a quick 90. I'll be right back.
All right, talk to you soon. All right, fans. Thank you guys for sticking with us, man. This has been a pretty cool week. Going to be a busy week. Like I say, next week we're going to be at NBA Summer League for a few days. Shortly after that, it's going to be NFL training camp is starting pretty soon. More than likely, I'll be at the Chargers training camp. As it stands right now, who knows what's going to happen by then? But more than likely, at the Chargers training camp here in a couple of weeks. So going to be once we get NFL season. And this year has gone by super fast because once NFL season starts, it's going to be a grind. But you already know it's just going to go by so quickly. It's week after week after week. Those 17 weeks of the NFL season just fly by. So this year's almost over, man. If you guys haven't got done what you want to get done by now, um, man, you better start planning for 2023 because you got to hunker down and close out the year strong. Do you accomplish all the goals you wanted to accomplish? You got a few more months to get it done, or it's, 2 more months is going to be September. Then it's Halloween, and then once Halloween comes, the year's over. Everybody's already thinking about Christmas. So Cleveland, you need to get done what you want to get done. You got 2 months to get it done because you're not going to do it after Labor Day and then Halloween comes, and then the year's over, right? So you got a couple months, man, to accomplish your goals for 2022, and be prepared. Prepare yourself for an exciting 2023. But the year has just flown by, so hopefully all your family is healthy and safe, healthy and safe, and we guys can just kind of hit 2023 in stride because that's what I'm trying to do. Accomplish, get some stuff done, so I can be coasting in 2023. Cleveland. Let's talk about this NFL, man. The Seattle Seahawks. They dragged their feet on Baker Mayfield, and the Panthers going to get Baker Mayfield for a 5th-round draft pick, and I think some chocolate chip donuts. Let's first ask you, Baker is now competing for the spot with Sam Darnold. Who do you expect to be the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers?
Baker Mayfield.
Oh, your guy Sam, you was high on Sam for the last couple of years. What happened?
He's proven to be a bust. He's not good.
Oh, that's cold. I'm gonna get into it later, but you want to start by telling me how this impacts the Seahawks? How does the city
impacts them dramatically because it makes it all very real and crystal clear that the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks when the 2022 season opens will either be Geno Smith or Drew Lock. It's a frightening experience for the 206-12s.
Was there, I just been BSing with you the last couple of weeks, but I really thought that Baker Mayfield was the way to go for this season. At least you get
at least as a bandage, at least as a gap stop before you go out and try and do something significant. But yeah, playing around, and now all of a sudden you're really having to deal with the fact that one of those 2 guys is going to be your starting.
so now it's settling in. Now it's settling in.
Well, now there are no other options, right? At least in the back of your mind, there's a glimmer of hope. Maybe you'll do the right thing and get a quarterback that's won a playoff game before.
Okay, so now
there's none.
In all seriousness, I haven't been a big fan of this. I haven't kind of I haven't shunned even having the discussion. But Colin Kaepernick can't be no worse than Geno Smith or Drew Lock. Hell, bring the guy in. At least you might get some more fans. You might sell some more jerseys. He might start a game or 2 with those guys in front of him. Well, you don't got nothing to lose now. Hell, give the guy a shot. You get a tick up on the social justice radar. You get the Seattle Seahawks move up in that category. What the hell else you guys are looking at, or the Seattle? They're looking at a 3-14 record right now with those, either one of those guys. Am I wrong? What's
I heard Phillip Rivers has been throwing a little bit. I heard Drew Brees has been working out a tad bit. I heard Robert Griffin III wants another chance, in the league, and you just start looking around.
I mean, yeah, Drew
You
Brees.
know, and again, the other domino, the other big six, or the little joker, if you will,
Mhm.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, you guys are you guys are stretching it. You guys are reaching. That's like one of those
How's that a reach? I mean, Jimmy's not going to be there, so he's going somewhere.
You think they're going to trade him before the season starts?
They'll trade him or cut him. They're going with Trey Lance this year, my dude. They're not going with Jimmy G again.
I mean, what tells you that? I mean, you can't have no intel on that. I mean, you're not with Shanahan. You're not in Shanahan's. Oh, do you?
Plenty of intel. You ain't heard?
Because Shanahan don't tell you nothing. He don't tell nothing.
York didn't send you the text message, Playboy? Oh yeah.
No,
Trey Lance is starting.
No. Oh, it's time.
It's
that time.
It's okay. That time.
All right, but is he going to? Does Shanahan think that little of Garoppolo that he sent him to
he's done
division rival?
They tried.
That he sent him to the division rival.
One time they got to the Super Bowl. One time they got to the playoffs. It just didn't work out.
You wouldn't be curious? You wouldn't be curious of your division rival trying to send you a quarterback? So he's sending you talking about it's all good, trying to dust him off, talking about here's Garoppolo in his new suits. Let him go patronize the local adult.
I mean, Jimmy G is handsome. I mean, everybody loves Jimmy G, man.
But I'm saying,
he's got charm and charisma, man. He can throw the football a little bit.
The gentlemen's clubs in Seattle would love him, I'm sure. I'm sure. But you wouldn't be concerned with your division rival trying to call you up and say, "Hey, man, we got this QB that you might be interested in." You wouldn't be concerned with that.
I would is an upgrade from Geno Smith or Drew Lock.
Yeah, without that is without question.
Absolutely, unless the kneecap just did not bind back to the knee, or the ACL or the MCL did not heal fully properly. I mean, he's better than the other two options.
You're right. Good point. Your guy, Terry McLaurin, resigns with the Commanders. Says, "I want to be there. I wanted to be here. That's why I resigned." But he has who's his QB? Are they going with Fitzmagic?
Carson Wentz.
Oh boy, that was a payday. He wants to be there. I mean, he's had 3 different quarterbacks in his 3 years with the team. Demaryius Thomas diagnosed with CTE. Cleveland said he was erratic at 32. Oof. He was erratic in behavior the last couple of years of his lifetime. Cleveland, about the CTE thing. I finally broke down and watched Concussion. Interesting movie, intriguing movie. Finally broke down and watched it. How many brains are they testing of people who have been in car accidents? People who have been motorcycle accidents and were killed in their motorcycle accident. How many other brains are being tested for CTE other than the former NFL players? Can you tell me? Can you answer that question for me?
I do not, and I would imagine that the number is not very high.
Pretty minute, right?
Sure.
So can we stop with this testing of former athletes who have CTE and trying to blame it on athletics for that? Can we stop with that? Until you show me some testing that this is not happening to everyday to people who are dying of even test people who are dying of natural causes. But just to test the former athletes and say, yes, okay, he got it, so it must have been because he played football. I think that's too. I think that's too.
In the NFL,
I think that's too lazy.
That's too lazy for the players that have agreed post-mortem to have their brains tested, it's 100%.
Did we test the people who died in the plane crash? The people who was in the
People that died in a plane crash do not play a sport.
Excuse me. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
It absolutely does matter.
It does. It
because
does not
you're
matter.
not testing people that have had
No, so you're not testing
continuous
you're not
brain
testing other people.
collisions over a 10 to 15 year period.
So you're not testing other people. Is what your bottom line is. What you're saying. You're only testing the
No,
select few
even if
people
you were
who've been in
to
this
test those
particular
other
genre.
people that died in a plane crash, they haven't been playing football for 15 years.
Okay. Do we know what the results of their this head scan is? The head trauma that they've experienced through their lifetime. Do we know what the results of that?
You know what?
No,
their
we don't.
head trauma
So let's stop
would
trying to.
not show CTE.
How do you know that? You don't test them. You're not concerned with that person
Because it's an
not testing them.
occurrence. It's not a habitual thing that they've been doing their entire life.
Okay, you're justifying why you're not testing them. My question is,
no, I'm saying if you test someone that dies in a plane crash, how is that the same as someone that's been playing football for 15 years?
Are you testing the Marines who are going through these high impact agility drills every day for the 12 years of their career? Are you testing?
That's not a middle linebacker. That's not somebody that's tackling someone with their head 500 times a day. It's not even a relevant comparison.
Show me some test that says anybody else dying.
Okay.
We're not finding it in nobody else. Show me that.
Cam, I will get back to you. I will get back to you.
These other people, so we can't find that.
Cam, I will get back to you when someone's brain that they don't test doesn't have it. Because right now it's 100%.
Are you sure about the 100%? Like,
I'm 100% sure about the 100%. Every brain they've ever tested for this has it. From Dewerson on down the line, man. I'm sorry that you don't want to see it like that. But yeah, there's an impact to hitting somebody with your head at full speed, running as fast as you can for 20 years.
I'm not saying that there's no impact. There's no.
Okay, not only is there an impact, they all have CTE, the ones that have been tested.
Again, show me somebody. Show me that they're testing, and that they're testing other people, and they're not finding that CTE.
But why would you be testing other people that don't have that type of impact for 20 years? You're not going to go test an accountant for CTE. You're not going to go test, a cashier for CTE. You're not going to go test a basketball player for CTE, a baseball player for CTE.
Why not?
Because they don't have that type of impact that often in their life.
So would you test the guys of Jackass for CTE? Would you test those guys?
You absolutely should test those guys.
Okay. Test those guys and tell me that they don't have CTE. They don't have any kind of trauma bouncing around in their head. That's what I want to say. I want to know that anybody, it can be anybody. Test them and tell me that we're not finding CTE in nobody but this genre of people.
You know what's really
funny?
Only testing this genre of people. Funny about your stance is that the players themselves will tell you this. They're afraid of what they have or might have. Some of them have it, some of them don't, but they're not surprised when they hear somebody has it, and they're afraid for what they might have. Ask some of these guys like what they go through. You've seen Jim McMahon, the 85 Bears 30 for 30. Did you hear that? Did you watch that?
I did actually, yeah.
There's not a there's everybody thinks he's because he's cool, he wears his sunglasses. Like, no, the light hurts my eyes, it gives me a headache.
That was a football game. That was that football? Was that football?
No.
Was that he's a quarterback.
Had nothing to do with him playing quarterback.
Quarterback.
Nothing at all.
Oh my goodness.
His eyes have just always been sensitive to the light.
We're gonna have to circle back on this topic, Cleveland. When you can bring me somebody.
Okay, when I can bring you a neurologist that will tell you that every football player that plays football will have this, then you'll be convinced.
Because the fans think there's some kind of and I'm with them. There's what I'm saying.
No conspiracy here, my dude. Doing that type of performance, doing what they do for that length of time. It's a step below
conspiracy. It's a step below conspiracy.
Step below conspiracy?
It's a step below
speculation. That's a step below conspiracy.
Yeah, I mean,
total speculation that ramming your head at going 25 miles an hour.
No, that's not what I'm speculating. That's not what I'm
100 times.
Speculating against. Cleveland, I would ask any of those players. I'm not going to say that.
It's not even a matter of if they had the choice to do it, would they do it or not? That's not even the issue. The issue is once you make that choice, what are the long-term ramifications of that? And this is what it is. You just can't do that for that long at that level, that violent, that fast, and not have it have an impact on your brain.
I'm not saying I'm not saying it has no impact. I just want you to let me know when they test a bicyclist. Okay, who's fell down and
again, you're testing bicyclists
hit his head on the country.
That do the Tour de France and had an accident that one time, as opposed to someone that's been through 15 training camps.
Or test the mountain,
or played in the
mountain
SEC
biking.
And then went to the NFC South, and then come on, what type of comparison is this?
Tell me you're testing other people. Don't tell me 100%. Everybody we test from the NFL has come down with this. Well, of course you're gonna.
I didn't say that every.
Of course you're gonna find.
Here's the difference.
Of course you're gonna find.
I didn't say that every NFL player that's ever played in the NFL has CTE. I did not say that. What I said was every brain that they have tested for CTE, given the way the player died, has had it.
And those are the NFL players, correct? And those are NFL players, right? And those are NFL players, correct?
Yeah.
Those have been NFL corrected. Okay, test some non-NFL players. Let me know what that number would be when you test. Let me know what the number will be. Let me know what the number is when you test a non-NFL player. If it's 100%, everybody in the NFL,
but I just already said those other sports, those other players that you're testing don't play an impact sport in the fashion that NFL players play it in.
So it's only NFL players that you're testing for this in, because nobody else can ever have this. That's what that's what I'm being led to believe. Only NFL players had this. Nobody else have had this.
NFL players will have the highest rate of CTE without question, because they play a collision sport like no other sport. What other sport is like football?
There's no other sport like football. So maybe a rugby. Maybe we should go to rugby players. Maybe rugby is just because they don't have protection. Yeah. They don't have protection. Maybe we need to start looking into the depth of rugby.
We'll do the rugby survey to appease
the correlation there.
Well,
and
there'll be
then
a
see if there's a
rugby
correlation.
survey to appease
Yeah,
you with regards
because you
to
can't.
the
I'm not.
ramifications of playing a collision sport for 15 years
Yeah,
at a
exactly.
high
Would
level.
you? Would that satisfy you then? If we came out, I might commission that survey on my own. Would that satisfy you then? If we said
Oh
Whitney,
no, it's not going to
we put-
satisfy me. I don't want you to do it because I already know what's going to happen, and it would just
oh
be disappointing
yo,
for you.
wait, you because what? Because what? You don't trust
Because he'll be trying to make a correlation between football players and other players that don't play a sport that has a collision impact threshold the same way football
I said
players do.
specifically
So how is it even apples to apples comparison?
I identify rugby players. You can't tell me rugby is not close to football, close to NFL football.
Mhm.
Is that are you gonna? That's what you're gonna not tell me? That rugby players don't correlate to NFL players? Is that what you're?
No, what you're going to tell me is if you test all the rugby players that died and they don't have CTE, then there's no correlation between physical contact and violence and head trauma because rugby players don't have it. But football players that have played for 20 years will tell you what they're going through, and you still won't believe it.
No, it's not about me believing this or not. Like it's at that point, yes, it's gonna have some.
What is it that you don't? What is it that you don't
detrimental
believe?
harm
You
to
don't.
your
You don't
body.
believe that football causes CTE. Is basically what your stance is.
Correct. Yes, that's exactly it.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly it. I'm not blaming CTE totally on the NFL, playing in the NFL. Correct. Exactly. There's people.
Okay. And you've seen the movie, you've heard all the evidence, and you still don't believe it. So there's no convincing you, and that's okay.
I mean, the movie was biased. I mean, the movie was biased from that medical standpoint that he was trying to prove this point. And sure, he did some testing. And again, I don't remember he testing anybody who was in a car accident. I don't remember that testing. I remember that testing just happening to those specific people who was in NFL. That's what I remember. So let's expand the testing, and then we can expand the testing. Then we can narrow it down to this demographic has a problem. Don't just say, okay, here's the problem with this demographic and this demographic only. It doesn't make sense. Let's expand it and see who else may have this problem. That's what I would like to see. All right, Cleveland, you got me off on a tangent there. Had to speak some sense into you, and I'm looking for you to come back with this testing. I'm eager to see this testing of other people that you claim you're going to come back with. Looking into talking about the NFL, Cleveland, with more pressure on the quarterbacks, is going to be a high pressure season for a lot of people. Which quarterback has the most pressure on them to win next season? Russell Wilson, the Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Tua Tagovailoa. Which one of these guys have the most pressure on them?
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson?
For sure.
I mean, but didn't we agree that they're going to be third in their division? Or did I just say that?
I didn't agree with that.
We didn't agree with that.
That may have been some nonsense that you were kicking around, but I never said that. I believe I said that they would have a better record than who? The Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah, and I said that they would make the playoffs, and the Los Angeles Chargers wouldn't.
Wait, did we put that? Did we put that down? I said,
oh no, you throw these other mischievous little things up on the tape.
What? Oh, that don't mean anything.
No,
that don't mean anything. I don't know. Did we put that up there? Did we? So we did put that up there. Let's be a little bit more specific with this one here.
It's too early to be specific. We'll wait till after training camp. But your question was which quarterback has the most pressure to win, and I would say Russell Wilson because they gave it the most to get him, and they were expecting the most from him.
Okay. But I mean, if you said something, and you're so confident that you're ready to jump on, see, I just said I put in.
Oh, you found it?
2022.
Oh no! It's funny how you find things like when you want to find them. It's weird. Weird. It's like when you want to see something, like, oh, so no, look at I found it.
I don't know what you.
And then when I say something like, oh man, I'm shocked, I can't find it. National championship game, I can't find it. Oh, Chargers not making the playoffs. Did we talk about that? I can't find it. But when I say something, it's like, oh,
there it is.
Right
There,
away.
ding, 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 ding.
Amazing.
Ding, ding, ding.
Amazing.
Ding, 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 ding. We got it right there, buddy.
There it is.
We got it right there.
I
We
said
got
it.
it. We got it right there. We got it
I
right
said
there
it.
for you. Again, training can't come. We gotta add something to that, man. Make it a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
So you, Russell Wilson, more than Matt Ryan
Matt Ryan has no pressure on him to do anything.
with the Indianapolis Colts. What are you talking about?
Upgrade
They
from Carson Wentz. I mean, that's not pressure, man. I mean, hopefully get to the playoffs, man. You
Derek
can trade
Carr.
like 3 first-round picks and 4 starters to get him. You just
Derek
signed
Carr.
him.
Derek Carr has no pressure for him. No pressure.
Mark Davis doesn't know what he's doing down there in Vegas. He's just playing around with his dad's team, man.
Oh, that's gone. Now, I know you're gonna say Justin Herbert has pressure on him.
No,
No pressure on Justin Herbert.
no.
The rookie of the year, AFC starting quarterback in the Pro Bowl, has no pressure on him going to his third
No.
year.
Didn't make the playoffs last year. Not going to make the playoffs
fourth
this year.
This is fourth year.
It'll be his third year.
So
first year he started when Tyrod got punctured in his lung. That last year he didn't make the playoffs. This is third year.
third year, okay. Wow, I'm surprised you. I thought you'd jump all over. Just Herbert has the pressure on him. Trevor Lawrence, no pressure on Trevor Lawrence.
Man, played in an Urban Meyer and a really bad team. They're trying to improve, get better.
Wow. And Tua, come on, there's pressure on Tua, dude. I mean, Tua's.
Tua's going to succeed. Tua has enough weapons, and he's in an environment where he's going to flourish. So I wouldn't really.
He's in an environment that's flourish. Like
he's going to succeed. I mean, he's a winner.
What's the confidence?
He's been a winner everywhere he can.
I don't know what gives you the confidence that says he's in an environment.
Championship. He's been a winner everywhere he's been. It's like his third year. Give him some time. Give him some weapons. I mean, he's got Waddle and Tyreek Hill, for crying out loud. Just went and got Mostert. Got an all-pro tight end. I mean, no pressure on him.
No pressure on Tua.
Not the strongest division in the world. I mean,
Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. There's AFC favorite that's in that division, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Favorite to win the AFC comes out of the AFC East.
I'm pretty sure Buffalo's the favorite to win the AFC East. So, yeah, no.
I'm surprised you said. I mean, you're Tua.
You heard your guy? What do you have to say about Tua?
Who?
The dude that you just pulled over for wearing the Miami Dolphins gear. What do he have to say about Tua?
Oh shit!
He's on board.
You saw what he
looked like. 305.
Did he look like he knew
Steve Nelson doesn't return your calls anymore, in case he was wondering, because he'd be talking bad about
Did he look like he knew football? No. You saw.
Oh. So now he doesn't know football because he said he was with Tua, even though he had the logo and the emblem and the bright orange.
The fresh one.
All of a sudden, he didn't know nothing about football. He said Tua, like, no.
No, he said all my family from Florida, and then gave me the woohoo. So right then. He was from probably northern Florida.
Wow. Really? Wow. Now he's got to be from up north, that up north trip, because he didn't agree with you. That's cold-blooded, Cam. Cold-blooded.
Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson have any pressure on him?
No.
No, the Jets. Nothing out of the Jets, huh?
They win 8
And one
games.
guy
They'll be excited.
Last guy, one guy I left off the list was the other guy in New York. Jones, Danny Jones. Is it Daniel Jones, the quarterback for the Giants? Does he have pressure on him?
A little bit. I mean, if he doesn't perform, he'll be out. But we're not really expecting a whole lot from him, so probably just be out. I don't know if you want to call that pressure per se.
I mean, that's kind of pressure.
Because the level of expectation isn't really all that high. The level of expectation from Russell Wilson is the Super Bowl, so it's way different.
Well, they're gonna. I mean, if that's what we're basing on, I mean, they're gonna be sadly disappointed because they're not. I don't have them making the playoffs. Our official ratings haven't come out yet. You know, we got to do that before training camp. We're going to get our official. Make our official picks. Do you want to do that before training camp starts or after training camp?
No, I would prefer to do that after training camp is over, if you don't mind. Training camp can be pretty tumultuous. Sometimes you have season-ending injuries in training camp, and
obviously
players get traded, and coaches get spit on, and I'd prefer it to be after training camp, if you don't mind.
This guy. Well, after the training camp gives us 1 week to make our predictions.
That's fine. That's all I need.
Okay. Oh my goodness gracious! All right, man. Well, I'm surprised that you have no pressure on Tua, but you say the pressure on Russell to make the Super Bowl. That's surprising. And Russell's the third best quarterback in this division.
Oh wow!
That's
the third worst.
Third best quarterback in this division is what I said.
I'm sorry, third best. So you have Mahomes and Herbert, and then Russ.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how the division goes.
Russ and Mahomes have won Super Bowls. Has that other quarterback you named even been to a playoff game?
See, it took fans. It took what did it take? I'm sorry. It took us 62 minutes for him to come around and say that. I kicked off the show, starting off by saying Cleveland has one-track mind. He can't think past. He can't think past the nuances of the game. He can only think about who won the rings. I mentioned that in the first 2 minutes of the show, and it took him 60 minutes to come back around to say, but can't.
Even being in the conversation, I would like for you to have played in a playoff game before you say someone that's better is better than someone that's been to back-to-back Super Bowls. At least have played in a playoff game once.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. If you put it like that, that is fair. However, am I picking the Chargers to have a better record than the Denver Broncos? Yes.
Okay,
in that respect,
that culture that Coach Staley is breeding over there has been not quite as successful as I'm sure you would have anticipated at this point, but maybe this is the breakout year.
Obviously it's not it is not as productive as I anticipated because last season I had them making the playoffs. They didn't.
Oh yeah. So I remember Brazilian steak was on the line. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I imagine you wouldn't let me forget about this either. I wouldn't imagine you let me forget about this either. However, yes, I think they'll have a better season again. Once
let me ask you a question, Cam. Is Coach Staley on the hot seat if they don't make the playoffs?
After 2 seasons, is he on the hot seat? I would say no to answer your question because here we go. Here we go. Let's just say that was a trick question. I like how you threw that out there. But let's just say he had the same exact season that they had last year.
Okay.
They get close, but they don't make it.
That'll be 2
years. That'll be 2 years. No, again, there were a game. It was a game away from making the playoff, right? It came down to the very last game of the season for them. They lost the game, they didn't make the playoff. Right. If they had the same exact game season this year, where it came down to the final game of the season, I think I don't want to say it would be considered a success. However, it's evident there's still room to grow. There's still room to grow. That's and so no, I don't think he'd be on the hot seat. The following year is when the seat gets warm. That following season, I think now his third season his third season as a head coach. Herbert's fourth year as a QB. Now that seats get warm. Good question though, Cleveland. I see you trying to trip me up right there. You try to see if I was unbiased, how biased I was or not. That was a great question there.
Yeah, and you went for the bait. Yeah, yeah, hook, line, and sinker. You're just that biased.
Come on, you after 2 seasons, how can he be in the hot seat? Now, if they went 2-15, I don't even think that would get him on the hot seat though. I mean, but if they went 2-15, like then now you.
Well, I mean, Cam, just keep running it back, man. Just keep running it back till it works.
I mean, they can't keep doing it so long because there has to be some adjustments. So, like,
Well,
just as we're talking about this specific team right here, like their outside of Justin Herbert, their best player is who?
Oh, you tell me, Cam. I mean, you're hyped on Bosa. You're hyped on the left tackle. You're hyped on Derwin James. You're hyped on Keenan Allen. I mean, you tell me.
Okay, so it took you 4 players to get to Keenan Allen is what I was getting at. It took you 4 players to get to Keenan Allen,
Sure.
And then somebody say Keenan Allen's overrated, and so Keenan Allen still he's approaching that mythical block wall age 30. And once in the sports world, once you cross that block wall there, like
Football especially.
So, like this window is not going to be open forever. To your point, like you can't just keep kicking it down the wall, keep kicking it down the road. Sooner or later, all those guys that you got who's veterans, the Joey Bosa's, the Keenan Allens, the Khalil Mack who you just signed, like they're not spring chickens. Like they need to. You have Durham for a couple more years, but those guys, you need to get something out of those guys. So you can't keep kicking the can down the road, as you mentioned. Jody Allen, Cleveland, she came out and spoke. Everybody has her selling off the Portland Trailblazers, selling off the Seahawks. Jody says, "Hold up, guys, hold up. That's not what my plan is. My brother turned this over to me, and there's a period of time where I have to sell the team because for his philanthropic endeavors. But we're not there yet, and right now we're focused on winning. What do you think about Jody Allen and her stance that she took? Pretty strong stance, actually.
Word on the street is that people have been coming at her real tough, and she had to come up with something. But ultimately, that is the plan. But when Nike,
Phil Knight, Phil Knight comes
people like you gotta kind of like whoa.
You gotta kind of listen with
it, yeah.
Okay, but Phil Knight, we had the story a couple of weeks ago with the Phil Knight that told you he was looking for investors to buy the Trailblazers. You think he just didn't want to spend all his money, or
exactly that? Yeah.
I was like,
Phil Knight has enough money. Phil Knight has enough money to buy the Portland Trailblazers in cash if he wanted.
So I was just like with him.
He's old, so I mean, what is he going to do with the cash after that? So yeah.
There's no Knight children running around here.
I'm sure there's plenty, but so what? Yeah.
I would use some suspectors, but nonetheless, so. If Knight ends up buying the Portland Trailblazers, I mean, is there talks anybody potential suitors for the Seahawks?
Oh, I don't know. There's plenty of people that would want to buy the Seattle Seahawks for sure.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying is that there's no like finite list of people. I mean, it's pretty. Sorry, it is finite in the sense that you have to have several billion
Billions
dollars
of
to do it.
dollars, right?
So it's
Yeah, that
not
limits
like
a
a
lot of
whole
people.
bunch of
That limits
people,
that X's me out the
right?
deal, buddy.
But at the same time, there are still a whole bunch of people, relatively speaking, that have enough money to do that. So it's not like she would put either one of those teams up for sale and be like, "Man, I can't believe no one's getting back to me on this." That wouldn't happen.
Well, no, because there's people who want to get into either league. So no,
Right.
I understand that. But what I was asking was, the potential suitors have you've heard up there? I guess so we can sniff around a little later. But have you heard that maybe um, Nintendo might be interested in getting back in this
Bezos is
sports
always
landscape?
is always going to get thrown around. He was trying to do, get the Redskins, and yeah, they didn't quite work out for him.
Well, no,
So
that's still on the table because
perhaps,
somebody
but I
keep
mean,
leaking
wouldn't
these
wouldn't the
news.
Seattle Seahawks just be way easier? Like, there's not a whole lot of things to do about it. So again,
No, but he lives on the East
but
Coast, so he's an East Coast guy. So
potential suitors, but at the same time, we'll have to see what she wants to do. This was never her passion, so you can't expect it to be that. And this is not the first person that's inherited a team and decided that, like, wow, this is not really my thing, and sells the team. I mean, so no shame on her, and she doesn't have to find just the right person to do it. It's the team is this much. Do you want it? Okay, you look financially solvent enough to do so, and it changes
that's
hands.
that's weird. I wonder how she feels having this thrust upon her. Now kind of is this something she
She knew
expected? Is
she
it something?
knew she knew when she was entrusted with this responsibility. You know, it already won
But
a
I
Super
mean,
Bowl, already in back to back, and already knew what Paul Allen meant to the city. Already knew what the Seahawks meant to the city. Already knew what the Trailblazers meant to the city. It's just not her thing,
no.
and
What I'm saying
and it's in
but
the
that's
will
that's
that
that's
it's
what
supposed to go down this way, anyways. So
no. What I'm saying is just how much involvement did she have? Like, yeah, I mean, I can sign over. Hey, Cleveland, man, this show is yours. When it's all done and over, this show is yours. Here, everything is all yours. You get the copyrights and everything to it. Yeah, now it's all yours, but you really wasn't planning on it to be. You
no,
you were entrusted on it. You weren't really planning on doing anything with it.
and
Like,
then you leave it in the hands of the people that have been doing it to a fairly successful extent to this point. But at some point,
um,
it all has to, like you said,
yeah,
come
it's
to an
weird.
end.
All right, Cleveland. Let's keep going, man. We're gonna kick into our this week in history segment before we close the show. Got some uh, Major League Baseball trivia for you, Cleveland. That we're
Oh,
gonna end the show with today and see where you are. But Cleveland, this week in history, man, we do it each and every week. Um, July 9, 1893, Dr. Hale Williams performed the first successful open heart surgery, at Providence Hospital in Chicago. 1893, that was.
wow.
In July 4th, 1881, Booker T blessed America when he opened up the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. Um, we all know it now as the Tuskegee Institute. So we thank you, Booker T. And July 6, 1957, Althea Gibson won the first Wimbledon singles tennis. She became the first black athlete to win the event back in 1957. Um, Cleveland, July 6, 1976. The United States Naval Academy admits women in its first history and inducted 82 female midshipmen into the military July 6, 1976. And lastly, in the same day, 20 years later, 1996, Steffi Graf won her seventh Wimbledon title. And because you're such a tennis fan, we want one question kind of off the books for you. Um, Serena is the greatest female tennis player ever.
Yes.
That kind of no argument there. Then you go what? Navratilova, Steffi Graf, um, Everett, Chris Everett, probably in there. Where's Monica Seles in that list?
No, I think that's a pretty good list right there. I think it's Serena, like you said, probably Martina, then Steffi, then Chris Everett.
Why does Monica Court not get in that list? Is it Margaret Court? Excuse me, Margaret Court not get in that list when she has
I
Serena
think that
record?
just I don't really think that she had the same impact on the game as those other four aforementioned players had. Certainly, she had a tremendous amount of
She got the
success and
record nobody can beat.
has the most Grand Slams in the history of tennis. So that in and of
That's a
itself
record nobody can beat.
puts her in that
That's a record.
category. However, I just don't think that given what the other players were able to accomplish, that she should,
No,
be in the
you
same
just
category.
argue with me. You just argue with me about one guy being greater than another guy because he had all them rings. She got all those Grand Slams, all those. You don't get the plate for. There's no trophy you get for Grand Slam, right? It's just a recognition, right?
What?
Because there's no trophy you get for the Grand Slam. Well, they have their own individual trophies each event, right? There's
Each
no.
Grand Slam
You
has
don't
a
have a grand.
individual
You don't have a
trophy.
Grand Slam trophy. There's no Grand Slam trophy, right? I was thinking of the plate, but that plate is not. I don't know who gives out the plate, but that
So
plate
the
is.
Grand Slam in and of itself is not something that was ever celebrated to a point where you get an additional trophy for winning
That's what I
all of
mean.
the
Yes,
four Grand
right,
Slams.
right.
In the same way that you don't get that for in golf or any other sport where you win all of the four majors. So no, she doesn't get an individual one for that. But
Yeah, that's all I was getting at. No, but she won. Obviously, she has won all the different. The Grand Slams is a mythical title, if you will, right? That you win all these events in a year, right?
right.
But my point was Margaret Court has a record that nobody's been able to break, even Serena, who we consider the best tennis player ever. So why is it Margaret Court getting that respect?
I think she gets a tremendous amount of respect. I mean, given the fact that Serena hasn't been able to accomplish that feat. I mean, it would be, very similar to like saying, is Tiger Woods a better golfer than Jack Nicklaus? Well, Jack Nicklaus has more majors, but who do you think's a better golfer?
No, but when we talked and you talked about golf and tennis, I just named 5 players, and you were like, "That's a pretty good list." Margaret Court was not in that 5-player list. You can't
She's
name
number
5
5.
greater.
She was number
Oh, she
5.
would be number 5. Okay. Um, then I was going to ask you, that's kind of mainly what I want to know. Why is the Margaret Court getting that same recognition? But yeah, Monica Seles. Obviously, Monica had the untimely, hideous stabbing incident that happens. Was she on her way to being? She was before Serena, because you can't say she was being better than Serena, but she was on her way to being greater than everybody that played before her, wasn't she?
For sure, she had won multiple majors before that incident, and she was very young when it happened. So I think she won her first one at like maybe 15 or 16 years old and was on a trajectory to do some amazing things. And then a fan came over, on a crossover and stabbed her in the neck.
God,
So it's like, what's going on here?
bro? That can you imagine? Number one, just so many things. Like number one, the fans aren't close enough to. The only sport fans are close enough to have that impact might be the NBA, but I mean, you can't see anybody coming up down the stands and reaching over the coach's bench to get to a player, right? Like, oh my goodness, that shit was crazy. That was 96, like 95, 96 when that happened, something like that, right?
And ironically, started dating Paul Allen.
Monica Seles did. Monica Seles, she was working on a robotic arm. Is what she was
Just tying in our show. I mean,
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. I wasn't not even trying to tie it in. I didn't know that. Wow, crazy. Paul liked him young, huh? Oh, Paul. Okay, Cleveland, we've been touching on this last few weeks, man. Brittany Griner case. Again, I signed a position on Twitter. You can go to the show on Twitter, Voice of the Fans, @ Voice of the Fans on Twitter, and sign a position as well. Brittany Griner still, this case goes to trial. She's still locked up in Russia. It's looking like a locked up abroad situation, and it's an ugly situation. But recently, the coach, her Phoenix Mercury coach, came out and said Brittany Griner detainment would be resolved if it was LeBron. I think that was an unfair statement. I think that was an unfair statement. I'll give you my thoughts on the statement. I'll give you my thoughts on the statement if you would, and I'll allow you to elaborate. But I think that was I think that was an unfair statement. You want to elaborate on that? You want to share your thoughts?
I would agree with it. I'm sorry. I was asking why you thought that was like an unfair statement.
Because number one, it's a man versus woman. Number two, it's LeBron James, one of the most popular athletes in all of the world, versus Brittany Griner, who.
Right. So that's part of the reason that she's still locked up in Russia. It's because she's not mainstream. She's not white. She's a lesbian. She's a 6'8" black girl that nobody cares about. They don't care enough to go get her. If it was LeBron, they would care enough to go get her. Like I said before, if it was Lindsey Vonn, they would care enough to go get her.
Okay, thank you. That's a totally different comparison. You could say thank you. Thank you for saying that. You adding Lindsey Vonn, that's a totally different comparison.
With Sue Bird, they would go get her.
You would hope. You
wouldn't even have to hope. They would go get her.
Probably not going to be in that situation now. I mean, she has the right complexion.
Even if she was in that situation, they would go get her.
It's a tough scenario. I think it's unfair for her. Now you're bringing LeBron in the mix. Question LeBron's, I think, decision making. I think that question LeBron's decision making when you say
I'm not questioning any of that. The question
it does. I know you're not.
Coach was if it was LeBron James in the same situation who had a bunch of babe on him.
You're saying LeBron would have that, though. You're saying LeBron would have that, and LeBron would make that decision to go on the plane with that.
That's not what the coach said. Why are you saying that? The coach said if the player was in the same situation that Brittany Griner was in, and you're trying to say like, oh, well, that player would never put themselves in that situation. That's not what she was saying. She was saying that if the player was in the same situation and the situation was the same, except for it being Brittany Griner, it was LeBron James, he would be home. Maybe you missed that part of what the coach was saying.
Cleveland, I got the statement right here.
Okay.
Coach says Brittany detainment would be resolved if it was LeBron.
Right.
That's saying LeBron would put himself in that position to be detained.
No, that's not what that is saying.
That is saying that if LeBron is in. How else would LeBron be?
How did you just get that from what you just read? What? That's not what you just read.
How would LeBron be detained if he weren't in that situation? She said if Brittany Griner detainment would be resolved if it were LeBron. That's saying LeBron would put himself in that situation. And your king, your king would not put himself in that situation.
What that is saying is that if LeBron was in the same situation, the situation would have been.
If he put himself in that situation that she put.
What you're saying is LeBron James would never have put himself in that situation, being in Russia with a vape on him, So that would never happen. That's not what the coach is saying. The coach is saying if the circumstances were exactly the same, and instead of what Brittany Griner has been detained for, it was LeBron James would be home.
So, if that were LeBron and not Brittany, so LeBron put himself in that situation.
So if LeBron put himself in a situation and he was in Russia, locked up for some vape, he'd be home.
LeBron could buy his way out. He's a much bigger
Not
figure.
buy his way out. Buy your way out of Russia. They would have made enough decisions to get him out.
What you said makes better sense. Is that nobody cares about her? Unfortunately, that's more.
I didn't say nobody cares about her. What I said is they don't care enough.
Enough, right? Sure. I get your point, and that's clearly the situation. So, unfortunately, that's the situation, and hopefully Biden, I mean, which we're showing is spineless, and when it comes to this situation, is not doing anything. But hopefully, he'll gain a pair and do something to get her out this year. Hopefully, that's about what we can suspect. Cleveland, with the USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten now, Oregon State going to the Big 12. It looks like. Does that mean UW and WSU are now they're going to the Big Sky League?
Yeah, I don't even know, man. I have no idea what this Pac-12 looks like. I have no idea what the other.
Oh, Pac-12 is gone.
All this is. I mean, yeah, that's what it sounds like for the most part. So, yeah, hopefully not. But
Pac-12 is gone.
I have no intel in any of this. So, yeah, no.
Well, we're gonna keep an eye on that. We're gonna circle back to that next week and see what's going on. So keep your ears to the ground. Cleveland, this week we had a happy birthday for Mr. Shohei Ohtani. I know you wanted to wish him a happy birthday, Cleveland. So give you some things you can congratulate him on for his month of June. Shohei was on an 11-game hit streak, Cleveland. He had a career high of 8 RBIs, one game, 13 Ks. 13 Ks. Hit 8 RBIs one night, 13 Ks the next night. Then 21 2 and a third consecutive scoreless innings, longest of his MLB career. What do you think about that streak there for Shohei?
Hey man, great, good for
him. He also went for 10 strikeouts. 10 strikeouts the other night. He set an Angels record. Nobody's done that since 2014. Listen to this one. Ohtani joins Mike Trout, Darren Erstad, and Don Baylor as the only Angels with multiple seasons of 15 home runs and 10 stolen bases before All-Star break. What do you think? That's pretty impressive, huh?
Great.
Oh, here he goes. So, Cleveland, you told me about Francisco Rodriguez. You said the Mariners going to make the playoffs, right? Didn't you tell me that the Mariners going to make the playoffs?
Yes.
And Francisco Rodriguez, you told me about him as well, right?
Cam, you need to stop being all racist. If you're talking about our Mariners center fielder, his name is Julio Rodriguez.
Francisco Rodriguez.
Again, if you're gonna talk about the Mariners, you can't be all racist. If you're talking about our center fielder, his name is Julio Rodriguez. Where you get Francisco from, I'll never know.
He called me racist because
racism gotta stop, especially with our Caribbean brothers, man. Our mothers were sisters, man. You need to stop with all that.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks for correcting me, man.
His name is Julio Rodriguez, and yes, he was the Rookie of the Year last month. He's a Rookie of the Year the month before that. He's got 15 home runs, and since you're statting me to death, he's the fastest player with 15 home runs and 20 bases before the All-Star break.
He's the fastest player since who?
Fastest player ever. Just surpassed Barry Bonds and Ellis Burks. Thanks so much for asking. Julio Rodriguez. Number 44.
You trying to straighten me out now?
Well, I mean, it's pretty early. I mean, he's going to be the Rookie of the Year, so I just want you to get on board before it gets too late. And, you're still calling him Francisco when he wins the MVP.
Hey man, he came out of Francisco.
Francisco. Your boy Francisco. Oh, wow. You didn't even Google correctly. That's weird. Weird.
Hold on. So the Seahawks or the Mariners, we said we're not going to talk about them, but I got some Mariners trivia for them.
Okay.
What's the record right now? Do you know the record right now?
Right now they are 32-34.
32 and 34. You ain't seen a game in 3 weeks or something? No, the Mariners are one game out of 500.
Sorry, 33 and 34.
42 and 40, 44, 42 and 41. 41, 42. The most strikeouts in the first 40 games in Mariners history. Who has the most strikeouts in the first 40 games in Mariners history? Any idea? You have to guess Felix, right? Obviously, he's on the list, correct?
Oh, pitcher. The most strikeouts.
Yeah, the most strikeouts in the first 40 games of the Mariners.
Oh, it's Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson's not on this list. He's not in the top 5.
What? Repeat the question.
Most strikeouts in first 40 games of the Mariners' history.
I have no idea.
So Mark Langston did this in 1984 and 85. You heard of Taijuan Walker? Who's that? Taijuan Walker? You heard of him?
Taijuan, yeah.
Logan Gilbert. You know who that is?
Logan Gilbert, yeah, he's the Mariners' number 2 starter this year.
He has 220 strikeouts. He's second on the list behind Felix. So your guy Francisco Rodriguez. Oh wow, that's his name for the rest of the season. You said he's the first. You said he's the first major leaguer, right? To have what? 15 home runs, 20 stolen bases.
The fastest before the All-Star break, yes.
What was the stat though? 10 home runs?
15 home runs, 20 stolen bases.
So he surpassed, somebody did that before him.
So Ellis Burks and Barry Bonds are the only 2 other players that have done that before the All-Star break, and he did it faster than both of them. That make more sense?
Yeah, he surpassed. He beat Ellis Burks. You said nobody's done that before. Ellis Burks did that.
No.
He just did it be faster.
That's not what I said. Yeah. Why didn't you hear my dude? He been swimming or something?
No. Go ahead, keep going.
3 players before the All-Star break have had 15 home runs and 20 stolen bases. The 3 players are Ellis Burks, Barry Bonds, and Julio Rodriguez. However, Julio Rodriguez did it faster than Ellis Burks or Barry Bonds. That make more sense?
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, that made better sense.
Okay.
So Francisco Rodriguez, you talked about it earlier. He became the
So you're gonna get yourself in trouble, Cam. You're gonna get yourself kicked out of 27 Caribbean islands, man. To be like, wow, I can't go to Puerto Rico or the Dominican or nowhere down here. Crazy.
So you said he won the Rookie of the Month, right?
Yes.
Multiple times, right?
In May and June, yes.
Okay. He became the first player since what Mariner to do that?
Since Ken Griffey Jr.
No, wrong.
Since Alice Rodriguez.
Wrong again. That's how bad. That's how long the Mariners has stunk. You mentioned
I'm
King
sorry.
Griffey
Since
being there
Rupert Jones.
since who?
Rupert Jones.
I don't even know that. Wrong again, Cleveland. That's 3 strikes you're out. Since Izukiyo Suzuki did it 4 times in 2001. What are you throwing your hands up at me for? This is your squad. I'm just saying that's how bad the
My dude,
Mariners are. You go from
you claim you're
Griffey.
206 and you never heard of Ichiro?
No, I didn't say I never heard of Ichiro. I didn't say that. I didn't the Rupert Jones.
Well, why'd you say his name all backwards and wrong?
Ichiro Suzuki. Ichiro Suzuki. What are you talking about? Come on.
We probably need to
He brought some made the Mariners worth watching.
This up. We don't want our fans alienated as fans. Yeah, I'm not on board with all this. You know.
Fans, we're gonna have to bring it back next week. We're gonna have to circle back on some of this topic.
Yeah,
that Cleveland had.
Yeah, man. Brush up on your sensitivity classes, man.
Fan, thank you guys for tuning in, Cleveland. Man, we'll see you next week in Vegas for the Summer League. We have some live action for you guys. Fans, thank you guys for participating in the show. Cleveland, thank you for your heads up, big guy. Talk to you soon.
Right on, bro.
Later.